Self-worth is the foundation of everything. It's not just about feeling good about yourself. It's about knowing deep in your bones that you are enough just as you are. And when you know your worth, truly know it, there's a shift in the way you carry yourself. The opinions, actions, and judgments of others start to lose their grip on you. They can no longer shake the core of who you are because your value isn't determined by them, it's determined by you. People will try to put labels on you. They may try to define you by your mistakes, your weaknesses, or even by their own insecurities. But self-worth means understanding that you are not defined by what happens to you or by how people treat you. It means realizing that you are whole, you are complete, and you are worthy of love, respect, and dignity, regardless of how the world sees you. When someone hurts you, especially knowingly, it can feel like a direct attack on your worth. You start to question yourself, am I not good enough? Am I doing something wrong? Do I deserve this? But the truth is, their actions have nothing to do with your value. People's inability to love or respect you has nothing to do with your deserving of love or respect. It's a reflection of them, not of you. Having a strong sense of self-worth means you no longer seek validation from those who can't give it to you. You don't look outside yourself to feel valued or complete because you already have that inside. You stop giving people permission to dictate how you should feel about yourself. It's the recognition that no amount of external validation can fill the space that only self-love can occupy. When you understand your worth, you realize you are not obligated to stay in spaces that diminish you, nor are you required to hold on to relationships that tear you down. You stop accepting behavior that doesn't align with the love and respect you deserve. And it's not about arrogance or thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about honoring yourself enough to know that you deserve kindness, consideration, and love without conditions or cruelty. The power of self-worth is transformative. It gives you the strength to stand tall, even when others try to break you down. It allows you to set boundaries without guilt because you understand that protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. You start to recognize that your value isn't tied to how much you give or how much you endure. Your worth is inherent, unshakable, and non-negotiable. Pain is an inevitable part of life, and none of us are immune to it. Whether it's emotional, physical, or psychological, pain has a way of making us feel small, fragile, and at times even broken. But here's the paradox: in the very heart of that pain, there lies an incredible strength, a resilience we often don't realize we have until we're tested. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel the pain, it means you learn how to rise despite it. When you're in the middle of the hurt, it can feel all-consuming. It's heavy, relentless, and it can be isolating. You may think, why me? How am I supposed to get through this? But resilience is about allowing yourself to feel all those emotions without letting them define you. It's about recognizing that while the pain is real, so is your ability to endure and overcome. Resilience in pain means that even when you're knocked down, you find the strength within to get back up. It's not about bouncing back to who you were before, it's about evolving into someone stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Pain has a way of revealing the depth of your character. It shows you what you're made of, and often you'll find that you're much stronger than you ever gave yourself credit for. But resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about finding meaning in the suffering. It's about understanding that the hardships you face, though difficult, are also opportunities for growth. They teach you patience, compassion, and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. The very things that challenge you the most are often the things that shape you into a more resilient, more powerful version of yourself. Resilience isn't built overnight, nor does it mean you'll always have it all together. There will be moments when the weight of the pain feels too much to bear, and that's okay. Resilience is about allowing yourself those moments of vulnerability without letting them define your story. It's the quiet decision, made again and again, to keep going, even when every part of you wants to give up. When people or circumstances hurt you, it's easy to feel powerless, to feel like the pain is out of your control. But resilience reminds you that while you may not be able to control what happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to let the pain break you or use it to build something greater within yourself. The more you push through, the more you realize that pain, as hard as it is temporary, but the strength you gain from enduring it can last a lifetime. In many ways, pain becomes the catalyst for resilience. It strips away the superficial, the unnecessary, and forces you to confront the core of who you are. It shows you that no matter how much it hurts, you have the capacity to endure, to heal, and to rise. Boundaries are essential for maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself and with others. They are the invisible lines that define what is acceptable for you emotionally, physically, and mentally, and they communicate your needs, limits, and values to the world. The importance of boundaries cannot be overstated because they are a reflection of your self-respect and a powerful tool for protecting your well-being. When we don't set boundaries, we often find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, taken advantage of, or drained by others. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to please people, to be accommodating, to avoid conflict. But in doing so, we can lose sight of ourselves, of what we truly need and deserve. Boundaries are not about building walls to shut people out. They're about creating clear, healthy spaces where mutual respect can thrive. Boundaries help you define your limits, what you are comfortable with and what you are not. They are a way of asserting your right to say no without feeling guilty and yes without feeling obligated. When someone continually oversteps or disregards your boundaries, it's a sign that they either don't respect your limits or they expect you to compromise yourself for their comfort. But boundaries remind both you and others that your feelings, time, and energy are valuable and you are entitled to protect them. Establishing boundaries requires self-awareness. You must first understand what makes you feel safe, respected, and valued. It means tuning into your own needs and emotions rather than ignoring them or placing them second to someone else's. Often we avoid setting boundaries out of fear of rejection, of losing a relationship, of being seen as difficult or selfish. But boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary for healthy relationships and for maintaining your sense of self. Without boundaries, you risk becoming emotionally exhausted, resentful, or disconnected from yourself. You might find yourself constantly giving more than you're receiving, allowing others to treat you in ways that don't align with your values, or feeling trapped in relationships that drain your energy. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It's a declaration that you matter, that your needs matter, and that you won't allow others to dictate how you should feel or behave. Boundaries also teach others how to treat you. When you set clear, consistent limits, people learn what is acceptable and what is not. This doesn't mean everyone will always respect your boundaries. Some people will push back or test them, especially if they've been used to you being more accommodating. But boundaries help you filter out those who are willing to respect you from those who only want to take advantage of your kindness. Boundaries can exist in many forms: emotional, physical, mental, or even time boundaries. They can be as simple as telling someone you need space when you're feeling overwhelmed, or as complex as ending a toxic relationship. Whether it's a small or significant boundary, each one serves a critical purpose in preserving your peace, dignity, and self-worth. They act as safeguards, reminding you and others that you are not here to be used, disrespected, or diminished. At their core, boundaries are about self-respect. They help you maintain your integrity, ensure that you're not overextending yourself, and create relationships that are balanced and reciprocal. You deserve to exist in spaces where you feel valued, understood, and respected, and boundaries are the tool that helps you create and sustain those spaces. Letting go is one of the hardest things we are ever called to do. Whether it's a relationship, a situation, or even a version of ourselves that no longer serves us, the act of releasing can feel like a tremendous loss. But true courage lies in understanding that holding on often causes more harm than good. Letting go doesn't mean you are giving up. It means you are choosing yourself, your peace, and your future over the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go is the attachment we form, whether it's to a person, a dream, or an idea of how things were supposed to be. We often hold on because we are afraid of what comes next. What will life look like without that person, without that job, without that relationship? That fear of the unknown keeps us in places we've outgrown, stuck in patterns that no longer serve us, all because we're unsure of what happens when we release what we've been clinging to. But it takes courage to acknowledge that not everything is meant to stay. Some people come into your life as lessons, not life partners. Some situations test you, break you, but they're not meant to be permanent fixtures in your story. We resist letting go because we attach so much of our identity, our worth, or our future to those things. But courage is realizing that your life, your happiness, your sense of self is not tied to any one person, circumstance, or moment. It's something that exists within you, independent of what you're holding on to. Letting go is an act of trust in yourself and trust in the process of life. It's believing that even though you don't know what's ahead, what's meant for you will come. But as long as you're holding on to the past, to something that's no longer aligned with who you are becoming, you block the space for what's truly meant for you. The act of letting go creates room for growth, healing, and the opportunity to receive what's right for you. There's also a deep sense of mourning that can come with letting go. You grieve not just for the person or situation, but for the future you imagined with them. You grieve the version of yourself that you thought would exist in that reality. It's normal to feel sadness, regret, and even doubt during the process. The courage to let go isn't about ignoring these emotions, it's about feeling them, honoring them, and still choosing to move forward despite the pain. We often hold on because we believe that letting go means we're failing, that we're walking away from something we could have fixed, something we should have been able to make work. But courage reminds you that it's not your job to force something that no longer fits. Just because you let go doesn't mean the time, effort, or love you put into it was wasted. Those experiences shaped you, taught you, and helped you grow. Letting go doesn't erase that, it honors it by acknowledging that you've learned all you can from that chapter and now it's time to turn the page. Letting go also requires us to confront our fears head on. The fear of being alone, the fear of starting over, the fear of not knowing what comes next. These fears can be paralyzing, keeping us trapped in situations that no longer nurture our spirit. But courage is about facing those fears and moving forward anyway. It's about recognizing that staying in a place that drains you is far more dangerous than stepping into the unknown. The unknown holds possibilities, potential, and the opportunity for renewal, while staying stuck guarantees more of the same pain, frustration, and disconnection. In the act of letting go, there's also a reclaiming of power. It's the moment when you stop allowing external forces, whether they be people, circumstances, or memories, to control your happiness, your peace, or your future. Letting go is about taking back the narrative, deciding that your story is not going to be defined by what happened to you or what didn't work out. It's about creating space for new possibilities, new joys, and new beginnings. The courage to let go also brings with it the freedom to redefine yourself. Often we become so wrapped up in our attachments that we lose sight of who we are outside of them. Letting go gives you the space to rediscover yourself, to reconnect with what truly brings you joy and peace. It's an opportunity to realign with your values, your dreams, and the vision of the life you want to live. It's about stepping into your own power, independent of anyone or anything else. Ultimately, letting go is an act of self-love. It's the recognition that you deserve to be free from the chains of the past, from the weight of what no longer serves you. It's the courage to prioritize your well-being over your fear of the unknown. And while it may not be easy, it's a powerful step toward living a life that is fully yours. Healing is a journey, not a destination. It's a process that unfolds in layers, sometimes slowly, often unexpectedly, and it requires patience, vulnerability, and commitment to yourself. Healing doesn't happen all at once, and it doesn't follow a linear path. You might find yourself revisiting old wounds just when you thought they had closed. But healing is not about forgetting what happened to you or pretending the pain never existed. It's about learning to coexist with your experiences, allowing them to shape you without letting them define you. At the heart of healing is the understanding that your pain, while real and significant, does not have to be permanent. It may feel like it's a part of who you are, especially if the hurt was deep or prolonged, but you are not your pain. You are not your trauma. You are not your past. Healing begins when you can start to separate your identity from the experiences that caused you harm, recognizing that while they shaped your journey, they do not have to determine your future. The process of healing often requires confronting uncomfortable emotions, thoughts, and memories. It means allowing yourself to feel the full weight of your hurt instead of pushing it down or pretending it doesn't exist. Healing asks you to sit with your pain, to give it a voice, and to honor it for what it is, a part of your story, but not the whole story. In doing so, you give yourself the space to process, to release, and to begin to rebuild. There is also a tremendous amount of strength in the act of healing. It takes courage to face the wounds that others have inflicted upon you, or even those that you've inflicted upon yourself. Healing is not passive, it requires active participation. It's choosing every day to move forward, even when it would be easier to stay stuck in anger, grief, or resentment. It's making the decision to prioritize your peace, to protect your heart, and to reclaim your life from the grip of the pain that once held you. Healing is also about forgiveness, not always for others, but for yourself. It's about releasing the guilt, shame, or regret that might be tied to your experiences. Sometimes we hold ourselves hostage to our past mistakes, thinking that if we had just done something differently, the hurt could have been avoided. But healing invites you to let go of that burden, to accept that the past cannot be changed, and to focus instead on how you can grow from it. In the process of healing, you also begin to rediscover parts of yourself that may have been lost or buried beneath the pain. Healing allows you to reconnect with your sense of self, your passions, and your dreams. It gives you permission to reclaim the parts of you that were overshadowed by the hurt, to reignite the light within you that may have been dimmed. Through healing, you find that your spirit, though tested, is still vibrant, still alive, and still capable of joy and love. But healing isn't just about tending to your wounds, it's about rising above them. Rising above means that you don't just survive what happened to you, you transcend it. It's the moment when you realize that your story is not about the pain, but about the triumph that comes after it. Rising above is about reclaiming your power, understanding that the experiences meant to break you have instead built you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Rising above doesn't mean forgetting or minimizing what happened to you. It means refusing to let those experiences hold you back or dictate how you move forward. It's a conscious choice to take the lessons learned from your pain and use them as stepping stones toward a future filled with growth, purpose, and possibility. Rising above is about transforming your suffering into strength, your sorrow into wisdom, and your challenges into opportunities for growth. Part of rising above also involves shifting your perspective on the pain you've endured. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, you begin to recognize your ability to rise from it. You start to see your resilience as a testament to your inner strength and your journey of healing as proof that you are capable of overcoming even the most difficult trials. Rising above is not about denying the hurt, but about acknowledging that you are so much more than the hurt. You are the sum of your victories, your perseverance, and your refusal to be defined by your suffering. In the process of rising above, you may also find that your healing has a ripple effect. As you heal and elevate yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your journey becomes a testament to the power of resilience and the possibility of transformation. You show others that it's possible to heal from even the deepest wounds and that there is life, love, and hope beyond the pain. Your strength becomes a source of encouragement for those still navigating their own healing journey, reminding them that they too can rise above. Healing and rising above is ultimately about reclaiming your narrative. It's the understanding that while you cannot control what happened to you, you have complete control over how you choose to move forward. It's about taking the broken pieces of your past and turning them into something beautiful, something strong, something that serves as a foundation for the life you are building. Through healing and rising above, you realize that you are not defined by what you've lost, but by what you've gained in the process.